Yeah, good morning. Going back to Friday night, which seems like a while ago now. Obviously disappointed in the result of Friday night. We didn't play up to our expectations, regardless of injuries or lack of depth, or matchups or inexperience. To beat a team that talented and experiences as they are, and almost every opponent we've had, as we've talked about this in the past, you need to couple the roster development, the depth, experience, solid fundamentals, and football at a high level. At these times, that's the curve we're facing right now, and right now we've got that ahead of us. But regardless of those things, we still have to come out and play fundamental football. That's on us as coaches and a culture to get that going. And our guys, we didn't do what we'd been doing most of the season, and that's come out with the right mindset and in a lot of regards. For some reason, getting to the bottom of that really has to we had to figure that out. It may be a lack of experience, but. All those things are why I'm so pointed in regards to recruiting in the offseason, the training, the mindset, health, fundamentals, and football development that puts the pieces together, as you can see, have happened for our opponents that we faced. That's why it's so important to build those things up on a steady basis and not put the cart before the horse. And we're seeing that come to light in some of the people we're facing. So I remain, and our group remains positive and engaged, humbled, focused on the number one thing this week, and that's improvement. And that's a huge piece of what we need to do. So that's where we're at this week. Hopefully we get a little healthier as well. But again, it's another 3 or 4 days of development for a young group, especially when you got guys filling in from all over the sidelines to get in there and get some run.
Going through the tape from Friday, just what jumped out in terms of what went wrong? What do you think the biggest issue was Friday?
Well, I mean, we came out to a slow start. We just shot ourselves in the foot in a lot of situations. We hadn't done that a lot. We could tell we were all over the place, and a lot of that has to do with maybe the first time some of those guys being in that game that way. There's a psychology of that many of us all alluded to, and the rivalry and all that stuff that builds it up. There's a delicate balance there, and there's a inherent danger to putting all your emotional and psychological power into that and not focused in on what to get done to get the win. And when you're young and inexperienced going against a group that's not, you run the risk of them focusing on so much of the emotional aspect of the game, you come out and slow start, or you have some things that don't work out because they're not thinking of those at the forefront. And so that is a delicate balance that I was afraid of, and I've been doing this a long time as a coach, as a player as well. That is an inherent danger, and that's why a lot of times you hear coaches downplay certain things like that. It's because we know from the inside what most don't know on the outside is that when you start getting emotionally and psychologically overpowered, you lose sight of all the little fundamental intricacies that put you in position to win those games. So that's the balance we're learning here. Obviously, turning the ball over 3 times, 2 for pick sixes. There's the special teams thing we got to clean up. I mean, you're playing a talented group and they don't punt one time. I mean, it's uphill sledding when you start putting some of those things together. And you can't do that versus a good team that's been together that long. You just can't. It's tough to win that way. You got to play really good football. And so hats off to them and the development they've had and the recruiting they've had and the time they've had together, because that stuff pays off, just like most of the teams we're playing that are 50-year COVID senior teams and led by really good quarterbacks and been around. So, but we remain engaged. I mean, we're seeing all that stuff, and I'm bringing that to light in regards to how the development works.
Coach, the 4-game redshirt rule, that's still in effect, right?
Yeah.
Down the stretch, will we see a lot of the younger players? Will you play them now that you have just 4 games left? Like Jonathan Baldwin, I think, was that his first time?
Jono's been out there. Tony, the thing right now, most of those guys are playing, and they have been. There's only a handful of guys that we've gone through. That's at the 4-game stretch now, where you go through the list. First thing we did when we got back was go through and dot some of the guys we feel could potentially get out there and get a look at, and you get a chance to look to, because usually in the past 10 years or so, what have done, that's the bowl practice. You get to get some of the young guys in there. That's what you do in that 2 or 3 week stretch, is you get the chance to see some young guys go. We won't have that luxury. So definitely, if we've got a chance to get some of these young guys who haven't played and still preserve their redshirt year, you can do that. But it's still got to be to the point where they give you a chance to win. You're not just doing it to evaluate, So there's a couple guys we put stars next to, but most of the guys we feel that can give you a chance, they're playing, and all Jonos and all those freshmen, and they're already on the field. We got freshmen now, O-linemen, and at tight end, that were guards and centers. So yeah, definitely something that we're keeping in the back of our mind because you get to, that's a luxury.
What did you think of those power sets that you ran with Gemini out there?
I thought Gemini did a great job. I really did. For having to take a guy who's playing O-line, who's really, and hasn't been in the offensive line, he's been with the scout team, and having to put him at tight end and do some things that were just to get us going. I grabbed him in game, in practice, after the game. I said, man, I'm just proud of the way you grabbed the game plan and rolled in there. And for a big guy to go in there and do that stuff, I did a great job. And again, he might be another guy we've got to use again this week, the remainder of the year, just with the nature of the roster.
What's happening with the tight ends going into this week?
First off, you got him banged up. Kaleo's still banged up. Obviously, we know we lost Noah. Gio is going to be day to day to see how fast and how much he can take on. He went through warm-ups and was probably not near probably where we thought we'd be. And now you've got Godfrey, you've got Kue, you've got Gemini. That's really the situation you're in at tight end.
Zion.
And Shelton's out. Yeah, Shelton's still out. Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, what was you expressed some frustration a couple weeks ago with the helmet-to-helmet on at the end of the San Jose State game.
Yeah.
What did you see on Brennan Scott getting mixed up, getting his helmet tossed off, and it looked like there were some headbutts in there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys all saw it. Beauty of the era. We sent it in. I haven't got anything back yet. It's unfortunate to see something like that happen in game and not get recognized. That's where you probably saw me losing it in game, actually, and in a downtime. I don't know if the cameras were on then, but I saw it then, and I tried to get their attention then at that point because that's just not part of the game, And to not be able to review that for player safety really is, in my opinion, something hard to do. But again, we went through the protocol to do it the right way, and hopes are that we get information back that helps resolve the issue and is best intended to, for the safety of the players, really.
What's your practice schedule look like this week?
Well, we've got Tuesday is now a designated NCAA off day via last year for some of the stuff in that's managed. So we've got Tuesday is now there's no practices, at least in our conference. So we'll go tonight. We'll be off on Tuesday. We'll then go back and go Wednesday, and then we'll go on and pick up a normal schedule. So we get a full week. We're playing on a Saturday, so you get the full thing. It's still not a consistent one. It's just different than normal, but it is what it is. We'll adjust and overcome.
Are you doing the Monday night to kind of extend out recovery period, or?
Yeah, Monday night, hopefully get a little more time there. That, you have an off day behind it, so you can gain a little bit of time there. That, and you get another chance at night to kind of get, the 5 p.m.s, the 7 p.m., 6 p.m. games, sometimes there's something too, sometimes getting that hour of when you're actually playing. So we felt like changing it up. Look at that again, looking at night practice might help in a lot of ways.
It seems like Doug Brumfield is getting closer. What do you want to see from him? You mentioned last week he's going to have to earn it back in practice. What do you want to see from him in practice, this week if he's going?
Well, the biggest thing is he's got to be 100%. You got to be able to evaluate a guy at full speed. And so to see if we've got a chance to get Doug back in the mix, to see if he can progress and continue to go and build off of what he did. Now, there's going to be a little bit of a fog there, of course, but he's got to be 100%. And so hopefully we get to the point where we can say, okay, Doug's moving full speed and can adapt to all the stuff we're going to ask him to do. And that's what I'm really waiting for, is to see him go 100%. He hasn't been 100% yet. He's been ability to move and get around and do some things, but game speed's a different deal,
For Cameron coming out of that game, you had a chance to assess a little bit. Was that a step backward or a step forward? Or what do you think of him coming out of that game?
Well, I mean, it's to him too. He took it on the chin. That's a step to have to throw 3 picks in a game as a true freshman. They're going to have something like that. I think you're going to have a hurdle. You're going to have you're going to get banged up. He's banged up. He's firing through it. I didn't flinch for a second in regards to keeping him in and getting through it. I made sure there was one that was a pick off. It was underthrown on a back foot and not a good reset, and the next throw was a pass. And I made sure that we did that just because you need to throw him right back in the fire. That's just part of this position. And I thought he did a good job of bouncing back for that. But a step back in regards to turning the football over, especially for pick sixes. And there were some things in there that I think he pressed. I think the game and the time of what he was going to, you could see come out. for the first time really in some of those situations. So maybe just in that moment, but I don't anticipate for 1 second thinking that's going to be a setback for him moving forward this week. He's a resilient kid, and he works his tail off. So I think it'll be a growth component.
What do you think about New Mexico when you look at them?
They play hard. They're going to be well coached. Obviously, Coach Gonzalez and Coach Long they've been around a long time. They do a really good job with getting those guys going. They've been in that place before, and so they know inherently some of the things that go on with it culture-wise. But they're getting those guys playing hard. They do a great job. It'll be another dogfight for us. To get out there and try to do the best. But again, we're trying to make sure the thing is bringing it back to us. I got to keep the focus on how we get better, what we need to do, and in those games and in the season so far, we've really honed in and magnified that comment is where we played best. When we really got down to making sure the focus is on us and on a practice on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, we've gotten better.
You mentioned earlier that a lot of your freshmen have already been contributing along the way. Anyone in particular that you think has made strides from the beginning of the year to where they are now as you get to these final 4 games, the last third of the year?
Without the obvious, Cam went into the season not having any reps at all, and all of a sudden he's a starter and he's doing some good things, get some growth spurts there. Cam, and that's Cam Friel. Cam Oliver's another guy who's shown up. Jono's now in the mixed. Unfortunately, guys like Noel and Kyle, they're still new. Those guys didn't be placed, those guys hadn't played any. Those guys played last year. They didn't have any knowledge of what we're doing. They're just running around like they're in high school still. So they're still, COVID freshmen. Noel being another guy who, hurts us when he's gone. Having guys that go out like that, and Noel and have to go substitute guys in, those hurt. Brendan Scott, another guy who's a young guy who's out there running around, who's doing a heck of a job. You saw Wasali get in there and mix it up at D-line. You're seeing a lot of freshmen. And for the most part, I've been excited about those guys' opportunity to keep them develop. It's exciting to see, especially when you look forward at the programs we play in, the programs we played and what they looked like or would have looked like at this time then. 5 years from now, 5 years ago up there, 5 years ago at Fresno, 4 years ago at San Jose, 5 years ago at UTSA, 4 years ago at Iowa State, 5 years ago at Arizona State. You do the math and you see what it was. And I saw most of those teams at that time. So that's exciting to see these guys and go, okay, great. That's exciting.
What do you think, just at this stage of the program with where you guys are at in terms of development, what would a win mean for this group? How bad do these guys want to get one?
Well, you guys have seen them play. These guys want to win. There's no doubt about it. They've been, to get you get punched. There's a lot of people would lay down on that goal line for 6 plays and let that ball walk in. They didn't do that. There's a lot of teams that would have stopped playing and not try to keep scoring. They didn't do that. The quarterback would have just walked off the field. They didn't do that. They haven't done that all season, and it's really important to these guys. I think the win more than anything is just going to give them the understanding that, like, we finished a game, we did what wins, we have this chance of doing this. It's a belief. It's that type of confidence has to show up at some point. I'm really hoping we can get that way, but it doesn't happen by accident. We can't just give it to them. No one's going to just give it to you. You got to do the things that are right and that win football games, and so they're dialed into that. We had 99% of the guys show up the day after that game in that weight room on a Sunday optional lift, or Saturday optional lift, and so these guys want to get better, and so that has you're going the right way when again they're pushing the envelope.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Leif, Cam had a tough game going. How do you guys as an offensive line, as the center, how do you kind of rally and kind of put that and learn by that and help them continue to grow?
I think with our offensive line, there's some experience throughout the whole line. I think we tried a whole bunch of different lineups and throughout the season, but I think a lot of it that's going to help Cam is helping him build confidence, especially in the back there being a true freshman and all that stuff. Him being new to the offense, I think with us working on fundamentals and continuing to give him more confidence back in the pocket so he can sit back there and do what he needs to do, I think that will help him get better. So
To follow on that, what changes have you seen in Cam from this point in the season where he has a few starts under his belt this first start? How far has he come just in terms of the way he carries himself, how he is in the huddle? Like, what have you noticed that's changed over the course of the season?
So as a quarterback, you're kind of seen as the leader of the team. Like when he first started, he was a little timid and a little quiet, but I think with more starts under his belt, him like feeling more of the game, I think he's grown a lot more confident in what he's doing, and I see it in the huddle, especially when we're coming off the sideline. He continues to push not only the O-line, but everyone on the team, especially not only the starters, but the second string, everybody. So I think he's doing a really good job and growing with confidence, especially at a young age. So.
Austin, just talk about the disappointment on Friday night and how the team was feeling after the game.
Yeah, it was a tough game overall. Nonetheless, it was a rivalry game, and you never want to go out like that. You know, we were really competing, and we really thought we had a chance of winning that game. And you know, I think we got out physical. I think overall they just played better than us, and we tip our hat to them. But that can't happen, and we got to go back to work. And we made the corrections. We watched the tape, see how we can improve, and moving forward.
It's been a long time for this team since you guys were out physical or beaten up like that in the game. What do you have to do to put that past you and get back to competing for these Final Four games?
I think we just have to go back to the basics. You know, what's been working for us, limit what hasn't been working for us. It all starts with fundamentals and our techniques. And, you know, if it was easy, everyone would do it. It's a tough sport. You know, it's tough being in this position, but at the end of the day, as a leader on the team, this is when a team needs leaders most. And so we just fall back on our technique and back to the basics. You know, don't let it get to us too much. Treat every week like a new week and go from there.
Coach, I mentioned that on Saturday, 99% pretty much the whole team was there for an optional lift. Can you just walk us through the energy there and how guys were able to, you know, be in there and try and bounce back after a tough loss like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been like that all year. During the off season too, really. Guys are bought in, locked in, you know. It's tough losing these games, but people come the next day and ready to work with a good attitude. You know, it's always a good atmosphere. And it'd be easy to be down on each other right now, but there's none of that going on right now, which is great.
How bad do you want to win? Like, what would a win mean to be able to win a game this season? What would that mean for you guys, just given everything you've been through this year?
Yeah, it'll mean a lot, not only for our confidence, but just in general. The improvement's there. We all see it, but without the wins, there's nothing to show for it. At the end of the day, that's what we're playing for. So it would mean a lot, and you know, like I said before, I think we go out every game expecting to win.
Austin, can you talk about goal line stand, you know, and what makes the team, what do you do differently that makes you guys just ball out in goal line stand?
Yeah, I think it's become part of our identity as a defense. You know, we take pride in defending every inch of grass that we have. You know, we always say that if there's a blade of grass, we're going to defend it. And so, you know, we take pride in the goal line. But with that said, we also have to find ways to not let them down there so much and take the same amount of pride in the middle of the field, too.
Good. That's good.